Isn't he Mexican?
Colombian.
He calls himself American.
All right, folks, I'm here. I know it's dark. I know you don't see the light, but the light is there. The darkness, perceive it not. I am the American Anchor, baby, and I think you can hear me. We might have to run that. We might have to just rock and roll like this. What's up, everybody? It's the American Anchor, baby. Am I good? Am I good here? Test. Hello, I'm the American Anchor, baby, and this is my show. Thank you so much for tuning in. Appreciate it. First show of 2024. How y'all doing? Welcome. 111. All right, y'all. Thank you. Okay, the cash monster hit. The cash monster ended up hitting me today, but it's okay. We got a lot of things going on here. All right, y'all. Right on. Okay. Welcome, everybody. Appreciate you being with me today. Just making sure we're rocking and rolling. What's up, everybody? Yes, we're back. We are back. And it looks good. Test. All right, folks. Look, I've been running the board today. Gonna freestyle a little bit today, but I got some things I'm convicted about, that I'm sure about, I'm positive about, and I want to talk about it with all of you today. I'm back from Mexico. I'm gonna tell you a little bit about my trip, too. Maybe show you some pics. We'll see what we can get into. But what can I say? 2024 should be spicy, wild. It's going to be an interesting one. Let me just say hello to everybody first, though. What's up, YouTube, Rumble, Twitch, and X.com. Look, you can follow, subscribe, do your thing. Help me out here. Do what you got to do. Drop the like. Comment away. But anyways, look, we'll get into all that. No need to do that now. Look, I just want to say hi to everybody. I'm back. And looking a little Mexican, maybe. Maybe I'm looking a little Mexican with all this Chicano hair. Holy. Get it under control. All right. American Anchor, baby. You know, this... I was in Mexico. I went to Mexico for a little trip. It was very interesting. Very interesting, strange, fun. I was grateful, the people that brought me. And I'll tell you a little bit about my trip later. But I guess how do I want to start this? You know, pretty much a lot of last year, definitely as the year went on, I found myself, should we say jaded? Not jaded, but just a little bit tired of bringing up a news clip or a news story about this crazy thing that happened, or look at this gay person, or look at this. I started getting a little tired because I'd see, it's like I'd look at the conservative movement and I'm like, what are we doing? Just mad about some gay person or this or that. What are we talking about? And I'd see these stories. I'm like, am I really going to talk about that? Every conservative is going to talk. And I realized that although it can get confusing on what's happening to the country and why things are going a certain way, and people have all sorts of theories, right? People have come up with some crazy ones in this last year, too. They've gone really into, even deeper into some, they call it, their theories and all that. I say they got deeper into maybe anger and assumptions. Blaming, a lot of hate, blame, and victimhood. No, it was that person. It was that group. They did this to me. They made me degenerate. They made us degenerate. They brought down the birth rates. And I realized that's actually quite simple. We can actually throw away a lot of the craziness and slice right through. So there's some pretty simple things that are being forgotten and destroyed, and is the cause of what's going on, okay? Some of them you've heard, you know these things, but maybe you got a little bored. Maybe you wanted a thrill. You're like, no, I want to blame and hate. I want to pick this. You know what I mean? But it's simple things that we can't forget. You guys watch Jesse. Anger. You know about that. The family. The building block of a country. So I guess I want to mention these two stories really quick. Two stories that I normally would have been like, ugh. Well, every conservative is going to talk about this, and they're going to be all up in arms about it and what's going to get done. But I realized that I could talk about these two stories, but there's a deeper part to it. New Year's Eve, New Year's just happened. Christmas happened and all that. You know about the Christmas hate and all that. They're talking about this New Year's Eve kiss. The first moment of 2024 was an interracial gay kiss. I'm not going to show it to you. I'm not going to show it to you. But it was this televised interracial gay kiss. And you see what I mean already? Every conservative is going to talk about this. It's so boring. But there's a sister story, if you will, that also happened recently. This, in Seattle. They got this playground, okay? In Seattle, they got this playground. And essentially what it is that in this park area, you're basically allowed to be nude, from what I understand. As long as you're nowhere near like a children's facility, if I could be brief. So this anonymous donor wants to set up a playground for kids in this area, thus making it illegal to be nude. Can't be nude around the children, even in Seattle. And so the LGBTQ people protested. They protested and they won. And they get to keep it. They sided with the people who wanted to be nude instead of the children. And so you see even with this story too, it's like, bleh. It's like every conservative is going to be talking about, bleh. Oh my God, gay. But then I realized the simple things that we've kind of discovered already that, can anchor us a little bit, can anchor us to reality, solidify a couple things here. So I want to drive them home. And it's this hatred of children, hatred of the family and hatred of children. It really is. And all that means too. It means multiple things. It's all one thing, but you can gather some insights from it. A hatred of the family is what? A hatred of the man, a hatred of marriage, a hatred of the union between the two, a hatred of the institution put by God, a hatred of God, a hatred of God's good things he gave to us. You can go many places. And this society hates children. They hate like little kids. They hate little happy kids. They don't want to have them. They want to be nude around them. They want to make them gay. They want to teach them horrible things, traumatize them. And then you wonder, we talk about the birth rates. We talk about a bunch of things on this show. And I've been driving this home. Because we're living in not to be so dark here, I'm trying to get to something here. We're living in a dying culture. A dying culture, okay? Birth rates are one of those metrics that we can sort of measure this by, right? So I went to Mexico, right? What a nice trip. Mexico has its issues. Trust me. Mexico has its problems. They're like Catholic and phony with it, you know. I was there during Christmas time and big Christmas celebrations. But just like here, it's about drinking. It's about, not about Jesus. So Mexico has its issues. But one thing I didn't see, at least as much as I see it here, is a hatred of the family and hatred of children. There's probably that there too. Don't get me wrong. But if we're going to play the comparison game, this society hates children. And it's dying. It's dying. Okay, so something I want to talk about here. I'm going to get into some interesting stats and stuff. Really drive this home. Because it all has to do with this enmity between men and women. and the hostage situation that the children are in and future children are in. It's a hostage situation, and the women got the women have the guns. So it's crazy. So we're getting into anchor baby stuff today. We're getting into a bunch of things today. So welcome. Appreciate you tuning in today. You could call in 888-775-3773. You can call 1-888-775-3773. If you're international and you want to call, hit me up through Skype, WhatsApp. I believe all those work. So we get into it, okay? I'm going to freestyle a little bit. Loosey Goosey Tuesday, but we're going to rock and roll. How y'all doing over there on Rumble? I see you, DJ 2020. Hey, wow, I got supporters on Rumble. Base Nation with the Rumble rant already. I see y'all. Much appreciated. I'm just reading some of your chats here. DJ 2020, what's up? I see y'all here in the YouTube chat. What's up, Tar Baby Yoda, Games for Right Flatters, Kevin Hal, Matthew, Ivana. Go through everybody. Sweet Peach, Frederick. What's up, JS Urban Adventures? And everybody in the chat. And I do see your calls coming in. So just hold on for me a little bit. I will get to your calls. I know I should be more centered, but I feel like this camera must be off. So I'm just going to sit right here. All right, y'all. Did I tell you the number? 888-775-3773. Yeah, the hatred of children. So you see that, right? You see the point with the New Year's Eve kiss and the women. I mean, and the gay nudists winning over the kids. It's really not about the children. And these birth rates are a metric of this, right? I've talked about this before, and I don't know if people, maybe people kind of see it now. Some people swear it's not happening. Some people swear it's like that might happen. Oh, that's a possibility. This is a conspiracy, but I don't think that at all. It's something we're living through right now. The populations of the West are dying. They cannot replace themselves. You heard this before. Replacement rate, these birth rates. Did you know that? You know what's interesting about marriage in America? I learned that there was a golden age, at least what some people call it, the golden age of marriage. 1945 to 1965. Average age of first marriages fell to record lows. And the proportion of adults married was 95%. I mean, I keep reading this. I'm like, is that real? I know I hear that stat, right? 50% of marriages, if not more, end in divorce and all that. But this golden age of marriage, 95% of adults were married. 1963 hits, starts tumbling again. And I'm learning about this, right? Some stats and all that, trying to gather insight and stuff for my show here. And I noticed that America, not too long before this golden age of marriage, had gone through a depression, the Great Depression. And it was during this depression that America's birth rate fell to below replacement rate, where it's at now. But they came back from it. They beat the odds. They came back from it in a big way. And it reminds me of a couple of things, you know. It reminds me of blacks, for example. I learned about how, for example, they say they destroyed Black Wall Street. They say they destroyed it. That racism and white people or whatever destroyed Black Wall Street, Tulsa, in now what they call a race massacre or something like that. They keep trying to change stuff, make it worse than it is. But they rebuilt it. The black people, the black men and women, they rebuilt what was destroyed. The Americans of post-depression rebuilt what was destroyed. Japan, a nation that was smashed apart basically after World War II, rebuilt what they had. They became an economic world power. Just a little side note, I guess, to drive point home. I've made a point I've made before about really the people of a country and the importance of the individual and the people, right? And what they believe and what they're about. It it goes to show it really doesn't matter what hardships you may go through, what traumas, what horrible things people might go, slavery, they call it Holocaust, genocides. A right people will make it right eventually. Just give them a little time. They will come out ahead. And it doesn't matter who. Doesn't matter what kind. Doesn't matter what color. To me, that's proof. So America brought back their birth rates, blah, blah, blah. And it tumbles. 1960. What happened? What happened? People ask. You know, lots of theories and all that. Contraceptives, right? The pill, 1960, birth pill. The birth, what? The pill. By 1970, 43% of women are on the pill. Catholic debates ensue. You probably know a little bit about this. Catholics decide it's immoral to use these contraceptives. Abortion. Starts some woman, some TV personality in 1960 goes viral. I don't know if they called it viral back then. She said she took thalidomide. I did a show about thalidomide way back in the day, first few Nick streams. This drug, basically, that caused birth defects in children. She took this drug, and she didn't want to have a defected child. Send this one back. AKA abortion. She goes off to Sweden and get an abortion. That whole fiasco happens. Soon after, by 1970, abortions are you got 200,000 abortions up from 6,000. By 1973, 600,000 abortions. A revolution has happened in the minds of Americans. This was nuts in 1950. Abortion, what? It was absolutely evil. So something happened, right? 1960, something happened in the minds of not just Americans, but in many nations. 22 of the lowest birth rates in the world. Pretty much all in Europe. But take this in for a second. 2 of these nations are outside of Europe. Armenia and Japan. Japan is an interesting country when it comes to this birth rates and all this. Despite, coming back in a big way, rebuilding their economy and all that. Despite that, we come to today, and Japan is suffering from a similar sickness, emptiness that America is. The men are, the women are promiscuous. They want careers instead of children. They hate children. The men are perverted. I mean, they're kind of a different, I don't know if the perversions of Japan and America may be colliding. There's some Venn diagram, there's some overlap, but I say the Japanese perversion is a little bit, they're all into like young, it's like a little bit pedophilic and incestual. Meanwhile, America is like twisted and gay and trans. So twisted, right? Just, I don't know. Maybe it's all the same, let's be real. But Japan's an interesting one when it comes to this. They're suffering from a similar thing. But what could it be? Someone smarter than I once said it was, when a nation's faith is destroyed, it could be that this is what happens to them. A little history you may not know. Basically, America gutted, outlawed their religion, the Japanese. Doesn't seem like they ever recovered. I say this because I personally believe every race has a unique strength and characteristics to them. That's why they should be preserved. The races, the differences, they have the qualities and their unique strengths and all that. And so does Japan. But yet, the emptiness of that faith, the disconnectedness from their faith and what their mandate from heaven, as someone called it. Could it be that that's the source of what's happening? I just find it interesting to see these connections. Armenia. I don't know much about Armenia, but if another lowest birth rate in the world, I was shocked by that one. I didn't know. Armenia. Don't they say that's a Christian country? Don't they say America's a Christian country? Could they be suffering from a similar thing? You know, I was in Mexico, like I told you. And they're not suffering from any low birth rates. I'll tell you that right now. What's the Mexican birth rate? They are chilling on that. They are making babies big time. Mexico birth rate. I don't know what it is, but I don't think it's below replacement rate. That's for sure. Got a whole bunch of them. On this birth rate stuff, some have simple theories for what's going on. Affluence being a factor. As a nation becomes richer, the lower classes move up in classes, adopt the styles of higher, richer classes, downsize their families. And so it may seem to some that you can logically conclude that as the richness of a nation increases, they become more affluent. The society organizes to ensure pleasure and, you know, freedom, quote unquote, freedom to do what you want, to be happy, to feel good. It could be that also accelerates a nation to its eventual end. And like Patrick Buchanan wrote, very poignantly, might I say, fate may compensate the Chinese, the Islamic, and the Latin peoples for their hardships and poverty in this century with their domination in the next. Just things I'm thinking about. Because there's a whole bunch of them in Mexico. And I'll get to that. But anyways, and then the whole female thing. Women and men, the hatred between them. Feminism, 1970 Manifesto on Feminism, Nancy Lehman. The end of the institution of marriage is a necessary condition for the liberation of women. All of history must be rewritten in terms of oppression of women. We must go back to the ancient female religions like witchcraft. Japanese, this was a 1973 manifesto. This is another quote. Mitsuko Shimomura, writing in the New York Times, Japanese woman, writing about these same birth rates. She says, I don't regret the decline in the birth rates. I think it's a good thing. The parasites, which is what they call Japanese unmarried women, have unintentionally created an interesting movement. Politicians now have to beg women to have babies. Unless they create a society where women feel comfortable having children and working, Japan will be destroyed in a matter of 50 or 100 years. Subsidies won't do, only equality will. I mentioned those to, I guess, to describe what's like to try and gather insight on what's going on between men and women. Like on its face, that's pure evil. Whatever you think about what went wrong with men and women, who's responsible, who gets the blame, that's an evil thing to say. If you're a woman in this age, let's say you're a woman in this age and you see what's going on. You see marriage is a mess, birth rates are low, and you say, well, you know what? And you hold up a gun. Unless you give me what you want, I'm going to let this society die. That's evil. That's totally evil, because that's out of like hatred of the man. Wouldn't you want to try and work something out here? But yeah, that's just a comment on the relationship between men and women, which is at the heart of this whole thing. Yeah, it's pretty close to the center, I gotta say, of this whole thing. So anyways, what was I talking about here? The death of these cultures. And then it's so clear to see it when you see the hatred of children and all things normal. That's why it becomes easy to see the New Year's Eve kiss, these LGBT people in the nudie park, and actually realize not to get jaded and tired, but see the whole thing underpinning it. And it's a hatred of God and all things good. So we got to keep it clear and simple and solid, because it's nothing else. It's not anything else. And it happens in the hearts of the individual, what they let go, what they forgot. And it's our responsibility. You see what I'm saying here? It's nothing else. It's so clear. It's so clear what we've been hearing Jesse say these years, what we know ourselves now. It's so clear. They call themselves dinks, for Christ's sakes. Double income, no kids. They call themselves dinks, and they like it. You seen those videos? We're dinks. How ridiculous. They're basically saying, we're committing suicide. We're committing suicide, and we love it. We're dinks. We're double income with no kids, and we don't have to take care of a crying brat. AKA, we're dinks. We're suicidal, but we are yucking it up and having a good old time while the ship is going down. You see what I'm saying here, right? You see what I'm saying here? What more can I say? It's like what our society's about. And it just made it clear for me. It just made it kind of things a little clear for me. Solidified me. I'm convicted of these things because it can't be anything else than this turning away of of simple things like the family, love, and all that. And I know it can get complicated when you talk about history and it was this school and this group, and sure, it could get complicated, but underneath it all, it's simple. Right? There's nothing confusing about that. They're saying this is Italy. Can I even show you this? They're saying this is Italy now. And you just gotta accept it. This is a good thing. They're saying this is Italy. Okay, I'm just gonna mute that because I think that's an echo. They're saying this is Italy. The cradle of Rome and whatever. Look, I mean, I'm being told these are all Muslims. This is Milan. 0 Italians, 0 women, only male Muslim immigrants. Anchor babies and beyond, let's be real, invaders, etc. I'm showing you these things as just an example, just examples of what I'm talking about, okay? I just one example, I guess. And it's just hitting me how I've been watching some of these videos this past year, this year that just passed, and almost like seeing so much of it, ignoring it, and going like, yeah, whatever, I already talked about that, or I already saw that. But it's like it's what's happening. It's happening right now. It's not a conspiracy. It's not a what if. It's the death of what we love. Can't you love where you're from? I know I'm an anchor baby, okay? I know I'm an anchor baby. But I'm grateful. I'm grateful. I know I benefit. I know I benefit from the decadence, from this society. But at the same time, if I didn't work on myself, if I didn't live right, try to live right, my life would suffer, okay? And so would those around me. The opposite is true. As I work on myself, I become an asset to those around me for America, etc. So I appreciate that I'm here. I know I'm a guest. I know I'm an anchor baby, but the heart of it, America, because I care about this country. I mean, I just ended up here in many ways. So can't you have some appreciation for what's going on here? Because it's like not a conspiracy. It's like straight up happening. The death of what we're living in. And why would you want to let it die? Anyways, just going off the top a little bit. I see your calls coming in. 888-775-3773. I'm going to rock these calls here in a second. But what can I tell you about this? Methodist Church. I mean, we know about the Methodist Church. We all know they're all messed up. So I guess it's not really a deep point to tell you that they are now saying the terms husband and wife are should be avoided. They're not the reality. Anyways, the church turns away from it. The hatred of children. Like I said, I appreciate this country, so I'm gonna be a good guest here, okay? Hey, Nick read Death of the West, huh? Yeah, maybe a little bit. Patrick Buchanan, obviously a well spoken in this whole topic. Okay, he's got me anchored. Patrick Buchanan, Death of the West. He's got me anchored on this one, okay? All right, y'all. Let me just rock these calls, I guess. Appreciate your Rumble rants. Thank you so much for that. What else? I see you, Twitch. Hey. Anyways, y'all. That's what I've been thinking about. Big time. Let me take these calls. Let me rock some calls here as I get situated here on what I want to say. It's nice to be back, though. It's totally nice to be back. I want to show you something about my trip, too, to Mexico. I went to a little town called Tinguindín. It's a lot of fun. I want to tell you all about it here in a moment. But let me get to William. I got William out of California. Thank you for calling me, sir.
Hey, man. No subject. Just wanted to wish you a Happy New Year, brother.
I appreciate that, William. Hey, nice to hear from you. I appreciate the Happy New Year's.
Good. So
and
you
all
went
that.
to Mexico, huh?
I did, yeah. Yeah, deep in Michoacan.
Right.
Deep into Mexico, too.
And you made it back?
Yeah, I did.
Well,
I was deep in avocado country. I kept seeing avocado trees, and I got nervous.
Avocado. Yep.
All those avocado trees made me nervous.
We have a lot of them here in California in the valley too.
I think there's I think they have different owners here in California, right?
Yeah. Let's do this reverse. Why don't you tell me what's on your mind?
What's on my mind is this: the death of the culture that I'm living in, and that's just what's on my mind today, I guess, a little bit. But also the differences in mentality in the countries. Like, for example, I went to Mexico, right?
Right.
And seeing how, for all the things that they may have issues and problems in, I don't see them hating their children and families the way women here in America do.
They're going to produce some babies down there.
Oh,
brother.
they're making them, and I'm not saying that the families aren't evil to their kids, that there isn't hatred in the families in Mexico. But,
right.
But if we're going to play the comparison game, I don't see the Mexican families hating children to this degree of like.
Or the women hating the men, like.
Well, they may hate the men, but they're not aborting the children and all this stuff like they're doing here.
Right.
To the degree, I guess.
You might have something there. And I just seen a story today about South Korea. They're not having babies either.
Oh yeah. South Korea, they have some issues with men and women. I saw some stories, I think, in the past year where women are. What was it? It was these. It was this ad campaign in South Korea that was totally anti-male,
right?
Super feminist, and so it's definitely there too.
Yeah, and we got that base over there, Texas Street, and all of that stuff. That's so Americanized.
Okay, so can you expand on that a bit? We have an American base there, and so a lot of American. Is there a huge American influence in South Korea? Is what you're saying?
Yeah. Yeah, we got major military facility out there, and it's a big time influenced by America. That is correct.
Interesting.
It's been that way for a long time too. That base has been there since the Korean War. So.
And it's not. I bet you, it's a certain type of American influence too, huh? Because there's two Americas, like Patrick Buchanan says, and I think it's that international atheist America that's spreading their toxic influence over even in South Korea.
Oh yeah, our which hopefully in 11 months this will be done. Our wokeness and the attacking against the kids and the men, it's in other countries definitely. It's catching on, but I don't think it's working in anybody's advantage.
No, it's killing these. It's killing these countries. These countries will not exist.
I mean,
they will not exist.
The message is women around the world do not follow suit on what American women are doing. Don't do that. Mm-hmm. You do that, that's the demise of your country.
Who would you say? People, I don't want to force you to play the blame game. I know it's shallow, but out of conversation's sake, where do you put blames and certain blames when it comes to that relationship between men and women? Where did it go wrong? Who's responsible? And I guess in your view, can you speak on that a little bit?
Okay. It's going to be tough. Well, it's an age group thing. I started seeing it.
You're coming in a little crackly. Is there something you're doing with your phone?
How about now?
You're good. You're good. Thanks, William.
I think it started with the war on poverty when they kicked the male out of the house, the man out of the house, the father. The women married the government instead of their husbands. And it was an uptick in women making the men get their clothes out the closet because the inspector is coming, and they married the government for more subsidies. And I think that happened around, like Jesse said, around 65, 64, 65. As you know, Larry Elder always points this out, that prior to 1965, the black family was more subject to be together, intact, mom and dad, education, pay taxes, go to work every day, than their white counterparts. And I'd have to say, being that I was there as a little kid, I'd have to say that's true. Most of my friends had their fathers at home. But as I got older, and we come into the 80s, and then the 90s, and then now, that's just not so much the case.
Yeah, I don't think
the women are marrying their career. Either they're marrying their career, or they're marrying the government.
It can't be. It can't be. It can't be swept under the rug. How much of that affect just simple policy and? I think we lost William there. Oh no. I think he just must have disconnected or something there, but I don't think it can be lost how effective government policy has been in this. To give the woman subsidy and all that is a replacement of the man. And what do you want? What do you get from it? That's works against the family, works against that whole institution. Which I showed you earlier, there are people and groups who wish to destroy them. I think we got William back. Since I lost him there, I want to get him back on the air. Just give me William. Hey, William, we got you back.
I'm sorry about that.
Hey, it's no problem.
I would have to say they either married their career or they married the government, one of the two.
Yeah.
And that didn't help the dynamics of the family. And did you hear me say that before 65, I think Larry Elder used to always point out that black families were more intact in their white counterparts.
Right. That's something we can't forget about. It's almost like as the years go by, Larry Elder, Jesse's, the people in the world, like we can't forget that. It seems like it'd be so easy for people to go into blaming and all that. Right. But that's the antidote right there. If we remember, the black family was intact. They rebuilt Black Wall Street. They had it in them. That's to me is proof. It doesn't matter your race, nothing.
It doesn't matter your race. I mean, if you come from a decent family and you're shown the right things throughout your life, and you get a swift kick in your butt when you're wrong, and it's addressed, and that's usually going to be the father, you're usually going to grow up and pretty much be a down-to-earth person and know right from wrong. I mean, it's just hands down. And when you have an attitude of victim and somebody owes you something, well, you have to look back on what that person comes from.
Right on with it.
You ever notice how black people get really, really, really offended by people talking about them?
Yeah.
I mean,
yeah.
say say something bad about them, or especially the women, and they just will pound on you.
That's for sure.
But,
no, I've seen it. Yeah.
Yeah.
Mad people will do that.
Now, you got to also, you can't be a pansy about things either. You got to stand up and let them know. Look, you need to stay in your place. You need your husband, your brother, or your father to talk to me. When you get that way with them, they'll step back. They'll let it alone. But I think you're right. The order is all screwed up right now. And believe me, women across the world and other countries, you don't want to follow suit with American women. That's not a good thing.
Right on, William. No, I'm glad you called too and said that because I think that it shouldn't be forgotten. It's not just for black people too, because it should be an insight for all of us to see that it's about things unrelated to what everyone's mad about.
Right.
Oh, slavery or this or that group. It's totally unrelated. The fact that the blacks rebuilt
it's false.
They rebuilt it. They had the birth rates. They could do it. It means we could do it.
Yeah, I mean, it's false because, look, Jesse and Larry Elder are around the same. Those guys are around a little bit older than me. So the only reason I speak on what I speak on is because I lived it. I was a child when these guys were teenagers and young men. And so I seen most of my friends having parents, both of them at home. And every now and again, there was some that didn't have, but for the most part, all the children that I grew up with had mom and dad at home.
Right on.
And you can pretty much tell who had that kind of upbringing that was down to earth and pretty much logical. And when you get somebody that's like a man up in Illinois that calls in, he's black and he knows right from wrong, and he puts it out there. You guys are not right. Okay. Usually when you hear somebody like that or like me that addresses and looks at that stuff and say, it's false, that's usually going to be the person that had both, had good parents, good background, good upbringing. He's going to grow up and look at this stuff, this wokeness and all of this victimhood. That's the person. That's the black guy that's going to look at that stuff, like me, that's going to say, you're full of it. Nobody's holding you back.
Right on, William. Well, thank you for that point. I appreciate that. It fit the show perfectly, man. Anything else you want to say before we move the wheels?
Just a happy new year to all the guys in the crew. Joel, you had a good show, and everybody had a good show, and I'm glad everybody's back safe.
Yes, sir.
And 2024, we ain't got but about 10 months of this stuff left, so let's just do it.
Yeah, it's going to be a wild ride. Let's go, Will. Thank you, sir. Call me again.
Believe me, they're going to create something, though. There's going to be a riot.
Man, they're already going at it.
They're going to
Maine and Colorado. I'm sorry, I'm talking over you, please.
No. You're fine. There's going to be something to happen. Remember, we had George Floyd just before the election. Something before this election is going to happen.
We're going to see. We're going to see, William. Thank you for your call, sir.
All right. Take care.
Call me again. Donning Armour, don't be so shallow. I see you in my chat. What's up, sir? Don't be shallow, Donning Armour. Race certainly does matter. I don't understand this Republican trope that race doesn't matter. Okay, look. It's like, you've talked to me before, Donning Armour. Are there differences between races? Does it matter? Do those differences matter at times? Well, sure, but what are we talking about here, man? Don't be shallow. We're talking about if race mattered, like you say, Donning Armour, then how did the blacks rebuild? How did America come back from the birth rates of the Depression? Because all those things you're talking about doesn't matter in that way, Donning Armour. Don't be shallow, man. Nice to see you. But what can I say? Yeah, anyways. I like the differences between the races, and they should be preserved. They have their strengths and all that. And what was I going to say about that? I forgot. Anyways, freestyle show. Let's rock these calls because I want to show you a little bit about my trip in Mexico and other things. I got some amazing calls on hold. 888-775-3773. Real Mr. Mad, sir. Happy New Year. It's nice to hear from you.
Happy New Year, Nick, man. It's been a minute. So
yeah, that's big time.
I have nothing really topical to discuss other than Happy New Year. And I miss listening to y'all, you know.
Yes, sir.
And,
well, thank you.
I wanted to I guess it's somewhat topical. I did want to know about your trip. You seem like you experienced Montezuma's revenge over there. You lost a little bit of weight.
No. Well, what's Montezuma's revenge, actually? You're going to have to help me with that.
So if you drink the tap water out there because it's not quite clean, you get
Montezuma's. No, I did not drink the tap water for that reason. But you know what else I noticed? I didn't see anybody else drinking the tap water either. So,
yeah.
So I just
all the good food that I know you were eating.
Oh yeah, I did not get sick at all during the trip. I was fine. I was
You
I was
lost a lot of weight, so I don't know if it's the quality of the food. Maybe it's a little bit better.
Say again.
Whatever ingredients.
Say again what you said.
Oh, I'm saying the you look like you lost some weight. So
yeah, what the heck? I'm looking at this camera shot right now, but this shirt is also big. Okay, it's not fair. I don't wear this shirt ever. It's a V-neck. I don't like it. All my clothes I left my clothes somewhere else.
That's the Mrs. Zelensky, by the way.
Yeah, this is the Mrs. Zelensky shirt.
Yeah,
I don't really like it. I don't like the V-neck. It's too big. But yeah, I think also my big poofy hair is making me look smaller. But what can I say? I'm also not.
No, but it does look loose on you. I thought maybe you just lost a ton of weight.
I don't look good on camera.
You'll be all right.
It's okay. I'll be okay.
So you said you were in Michoacán?
Michoacán, cabrón. I mean, I can't say that. Los de Michoacán. Yeah, I was deep in Mexico, man. Michoacán.
Okay. Nice. Oh, right,
yeah.
You said by the avocado field. That's
dude,
some dangerous territory.
Yeah, dude.
Yeah.
Avocado territory, and I didn't see anything crazy. Don't get me wrong, but it wasn't until the end of the trip that I was talking to some people and they were telling me, "Oh no, that stuff, cartel stuff. Yeah, that's all over here." And I was like, "What the?" Honestly, I kept my head that stuff is between them, right? It's not really the civilian. It's between them. It's between the. Not saying that that's a good thing. Obviously, it's horrible that a country is at the grips of terrorists. But that being said, that's between them and all that. So I was fine personally.
I think as long as you don't look like you are American or you have money or something like that, they're not going to really mess with you. And even if they do, I think half of the time you can kind of
I stuck out. I'll tell you that.
What's that?
I stuck out. I'll tell you that.
Did you?
That's what people were telling me. And people were looking at me. People were, but it was all good. It was fine. Everyone wanted to get to know me.
Did you have family out there?
I don't. No.
Okay, it was just a random visit, or
no. I went with my woman.
Oh, I got you. Okay, cool. Yeah, nice. She's from out there.
Correct.
Nice. Okay. Oh, so you kind of have somebody in.
Exactly. I got an in. I also speak Spanish, so it helps.
Not bad. Did you get any mezcal or anything like that out there?
Yeah, they got the mezcal over there is in bottles. Yeah. They got it in plastic bottles, and in like a Coke bottle.
Oh no.
No, but they tell me that's the good stuff.
Really? Okay. Yeah, I mean, for me, versus tequila, let's say, I would rather have a little bit of mezcal. I think it's fermented or something like that. So
correct.
That's the appeal.
It's like a burnt and fermented cactus or whatever, no? Or agave?
Yeah.
So it gets a little different flavor profile. It's maybe a little complex, but hey.
Right. And I think they're supposed to put a scorpion in it, but they may
I seen that.
But I'm not 100% sure.
I seen them with the scorpions in it.
Yeah.
Right on, Mr. Man.
So you ate real well out there, though.
Oh, I ate good.
Yeah, I seen the list of what you were talking about.
Big time, man. Everything.
I know it's got to be authentic and everything.
Yeah. Cabeza. Head.
How would you say the how do I put it? Not the culture, but the vibe out there, I guess, would have been.
Explain what you mean. The divide between who?
You've never been out there before?
No, never.
So, would you say it's something that you would recommend for somebody from, let's say, the United States that has never been out there?
Recommend.
Or is it some real country kind of?
I'll say this: I'm not really into traveling that much, so I really would have. I don't think I'd recommend any place to anyone, but I don't know if I'd recommend Mexico unless, I know, there's dangers. So I don't know if you'd go around as I have a cousin, for example, and he went around backpacking solo in Mexico, and he went to a whole bunch of places, and he brushed up. He told me himself that he brushed up pretty close to some pretty dangerous things. So I don't know if I'd recommend it, but You know, you got to be smart and do your thing. It's not like I saw any horrible things or cartel came after me. Like, keep your head down like you would anywhere else and do your thing. But you're in a foreign country and far from any support. So I don't know if I'd recommend really traveling most places.
I'm just saying, like, as far as the vibe goes, like, were the people friendly towards you? You know,
now the people friendly towards me. When you say divide, what do you mean? The divide between who?
Just as a tourist, I guess. There, like, did they treat you as if you were like, you know?
The thing is I speak Spanish. I'm there with another family that's there. They all know, like, it's a really small town, right? So they all knew the family I was with, and so I'm pretty much got it in. So I don't know if it's the same.
Okay.
If anyone saw me as, you know, they were calling me el colombiano. So I mean, it's strange, right? Because I don't even see myself as exactly Colombian. Like, I may have some stuff from my family, but really, like, I never lived in Colombia. Like, I just speak the language. So, you know, they saw me as that. They're like, el colombiano, you know? So I don't know if it's the same.
I guess what I'm asking, like, when I used to go to Colombia, because I would go every summer, essentially, and they treated me like, I guess, royalty, because, but I had that in, which was my family. So even though we were in, like, the barrios, which were kind of like the hood part of the, you know, that city, it's like they were just happy to have somebody from the United States, even though they thought I was from New York, because for them, you know, anything America is Nueva York.
Yeah.
So they just saw me as like, wow, like, I don't know. It's like they praised me being there. It's like they thought, you know what I'm trying to say? Like,
I see what you're saying. Yeah, just they didn't know that. They did know that I wasn't from there and that I was American in a sense. So, you know, there was, for example, someone made a joke to me that, look, all these people are nice. They're being nice to you. I don't know he was just joking, but he's like, they're nice to you, but just wait. They'll be like, hey, primo, by the way, next time you come by, I need some shoes.
Yeah, I see that.
He was just joking, but they did, I guess they liked that
But
I was
were,
from
like,
here.
Towards you, like,
Sure.
welcoming, like, they didn't see you as like, oh my God, what are you doing here? You know?
No, it wasn't like that. It wasn't like that.
Nice. So that's decent then, because, like I said, I think maybe some areas, you know, if you're, then again, like you said, if you're with family and all that, people from there, you know, maybe they're more welcoming. But if you were just to show up on your own and nobody knew who you were, they probably might look at you a little different.
Yeah, especially in that town, you would definitely they would know you're a stranger. That's for sure. You're like, who's this guy?
It was a really small town, or?
Yeah, man. I think the population is like 12,000 actually.
Okay, yeah, that's pretty small. Yeah, like I got buddies who are Mexican from Mexico, and they'll visit, but same thing. Like it's their family, but even though they get treated as Americans, even though they're, you know,
totally,
you can't mistake them from being Mexican. Even they still don't have enough Mexican in them, I guess, according to the real Mexicans. You know, when they see each other, so they'll still call them American or gringo or whatever they call them. I don't know.
I got you, man. Well, right on, Mr. Man.
Yes, sir, man. Glad you enjoyed it. And,
big time, man.
I miss seeing you guys here. It's been a minute, man.
We're still doing what we're doing.
Screwed up.
No problem, sir. I didn't give it much thought. I just thought you were doing your thing. We're still doing what you're doing. We'll be here.
For sure.
Right on, Mr. Man. Call me again.
All right, brother. I'll later.
Let's get some love, some New Year's love. Okay. I mean, you know, I told you about what I was thinking about, and I kind of want to just show you my trip now and some insights and what I've been thinking about. Every Mexican town is interesting. They're the same. And I was told it's because of, you know, the Spanish influence. And it's a plaza, a cathedral, government buildings, and then the town sprawls outwards. It's like every town is like that. And so you got this like Catholic, deep Catholic thing going on. You know what I mean? You know what I mean? By deep, I mean, by deep, I mean it's just like deep in tradition, and that. I'm not saying that it's real or whatever, but I mean that's how Christianity is in America. Really, in some ways, for most, it's simply a tradition, culture, which is fine, honestly. Which is fine. Of all the traditions and cultures, I mean, I'd rather my neighbor be a if we're gonna be judgmental, be a, you know, Christianese, fake Christian or whatever, and adopt that as a tradition than something else, right? So for them too, this Catholicism is like a tradition, and people don't want to speak badly For example, you don't want to say certain things. I mean, it orders a society in some ways. Anyways, I'm just rambling now. Let me just rock these calls and then show you some more about my trip, huh? How about that? Frederick, Los Angeles, California. You're on the air. What's up, sir?
Good morning. Good morning. Good afternoon, I mean.
Welcome, Frederick. Man,
How's it going?
I'm doing fine, man. You know what? I miss seeing you at church, sir. That's the only thing I missed. Man.
Yeah, you missed the little Pharaoh and all. Yeah.
Oh, no. Right on, man. Well,
yeah. It's all good. He'll be back.
Good. I hope to be there.
I stayed up late. Yeah. He'll catch you before you leave. I got him for 4 months.
Nice. Well, Happy New Year,
and
Frederick.
I'm not teaching him to cut off nobody's heads or nothing.
Okay.
You know, I am having him notice his feelings and his thoughts. You know what I'm saying?
Deep.
And we all believe all thoughts are all lies. You know what I'm saying? But information, when you go from believing and knowing, you can be at peace. That's when you really gonna be at peace and discerned about what really goes on in the world. Because a lot of people believe in a lot of stuff that they can't prove, and that's where the arguments and faith and feelings get involved, and then the politicians, and then they vote on it, and then they got other people, and that's where all the side taking is getting involved in.
Yeah.
So I'm just like,
I can agree with some on that.
I'm going into 2024 trying to unite other countries on seeing if their nations are lying to them about what we see from our perspective of how strong they are of a country. Are these people really exploiting y'all? Are y'all looking at yourselves as if this is your land, why aren't you in charge of the resources? And actually use my translator on my microphone. You know, they have these new Google translators. You can speak any language.
Right. And you want to speak to who? What peoples of the world are you speaking to?
Every nation, every country. I'm talking about, I'm going to start off like this. Black people are in every country all over the globe, period. So eventually, I'm going to get one translator or one person database that I talk to, touchdown, and just build a network of what's really going on where we can translate and hear each other from the inside, from the ground level, so we can have, instead of believing what the TV plays. Because if we just watch what the TV want us to believe or see, we don't know what's going on. We're inside of a box, a simulation. That's why you watch those articles and you pull up these, this is this and this is that. It's the only thing that plays inside of this sphere of like a Truman Show. You ever seen that? No,
actually, no. That's what I was thinking too. Actually, no. I was thinking that too. Like, oh, this is just some dumb story, but that's just like the daily. That's just like my daily. You know, like a cook uses his knife as his daily tool to like make a meal, right? This is like this is what I got to do daily. What I see in the news and stuff as just like tools to get to what I really want to get to. What's underpinning it all. So it's really not about some stupid story like you're talking about. It's just what I use. It's my daily tool to use to get to what I'm getting to.
Yeah, but once you get to where you want to get to, have you made an audience that you can't sustain life without leaving these people behind?
Say that. What do you mean by that?
You want to get to where you get to, but you're so consumed by the life you made in this audience you done built up that pays you. How are you ever going to do what you want to do when you're...
Wait. What's the difference? Can you repeat that? Sorry? I missed what you're saying.
How can a court jester ever live his dreams if his job is to entertain?
But isn't that... How can a court jester live his dreams? But wait, how does that relate to me? Help me understand.
You're saying you're only doing this trying to build up enough money or stability to do something else when the stability itself...
That's not what I'm saying.
...is what you need to sustain yourself.
That's not what I said. No, that's not what I'm saying. I'm saying I thought. Here's what I understood. Maybe I misunderstood you. I thought you were saying that all these stories that I'm talking about, they're just Truman Show, whatever, blah blah blah. We were saying that they're just these stupid stories that are being fed to us by the TV, etc. And I'm telling you that that's not. That you're missing the point. These are just what I use daily to get to past all that and talk about what's underpinning it all.
You can't talk about what's underpinning it all and what's running it. It tell you what to talk about.
Oh, come on. Whatever, Frederick.
You're like saying you know how the computer's built.
No. But look, that statement you just said is an assumption. You just made an assumption about me. You just made an assumption. You're saying the assumption being that I'm not talking about what I want to talk about. That I'm being controlled and I can't say what I want to say. I'm saying what I want to say. I'm saying the deep stuff. I'm saying what I want to talk about.
But are you being fed it?
Am I being what?
Fed the information that you're saying that you want to say about. Period. You saying what you want to say about.
This is what I was trying to correct you on. No,
from a bigger machine.
No, because I'm taking I'm taking the news and all that, and I'm going past it.
To what?
To what I was talking about this morning. I mean, at the beginning of the show.
Which is like
why it's all dying. Why the story of the LGBT park is actually there's something deep underpinning it. It's really not this. It's really not about caring about the stupid LGBT people, and then the conservatives getting mad about it and yelling.
No, because even the in red states, the abortion pills and abortion Plan B, the Republicans will vote for Plan B. They don't want abortion canceled in their own state. It's a woman's right. And when women control the politicians, they're going to always win. It's not about this situation simulation that we in. It's about who's programmed this simulation for it to be like this.
That's your conclusion?
They put the nerds in a position that can be controlled by the women. All they got to do is control the women by pushing the man out the house, but the man didn't leave. The man will always come back in and make more babies. And the woman trying to run anything in that house like that was the new generation at the time. It was nonsense. Black men still surviving. There's black men out here that's not angry. That's making money.
Who's surviving? What world are you talking about? You're talking about a fantasy. Blacks are dying just as much as whites. What are you talking about? They can't replace themselves. They're aborting all their babies. What are you talking about? What fantasy are you talking about? Look, you're saying this about the Republicans. Hold on. You're saying this about the Republicans like it's like a deep point or conspiracy. It's real simple. Let me tell you, the Republicans are just liberals. Okay, they're feminists too. That's what it is. They're just like the enemy or whatever. They're a bunch of feminists and liberals. They're no different. They're not really conservatives. They're not Christians. They're not really. They don't really see. Hold on. They don't really see. They don't really want to revolutionize the relationship between man and woman to what it's supposed to be. You know what I'm saying here? They're just liberals and just like the women.
The people that give them tokens are the same people you lift up on the back end, and then you feed the money to them, and they pour it out the other end.
Be clear. What people? What people am I supporting? Say that statement again, but say it clearly, not with so much mystery.
The gerrymandering, the Jews are gerrymandered to the entertainment industry and the blacks.
And how am I doing that?
And y'all pour Zionism into feeding Israel, and then they'll make all of this. Like revolving door, y'all mad at each other, but
you're stuck, man. You're like in this little bubble. You think that I'm here talking about Zionism and talking about the things that you care about. Like I'm not there, man. You're stuck in this little world, and it's just like Zionism and blah blah blah. And I don't even know what you're talking about.
Do you have a president that you can vote for that doesn't vote for Zionism? That's not vote for Zionism. Is there a president elect right now that anybody running? It doesn't say we stand with Israel.
Say that doesn't? I don't know. Probably not.
Yeah. That's what I'm talking about.
I don't care about that.
I know you don't. But that's what America's waking up, and that's when they do care about that. America, the money we spent in the last 20 years, if we would have spent it on ourselves.
This is so amazing. I'm not saying that you're not making. I'm not saying that you're not saying a fact I'm not saying that you're not saying a
that's
fact,
what I'm
Frederick, but
saying.
here's why I'm cutting you off, and it's not to be rude here, but this is so amazing that you're stuck on this. I'm showing you the death of your own people. You say you love your black people, the pharaohs and all that. I'm showing you how they're dying. I'm showing you how they're dying. You're just like, can you tell me one president that doesn't support Israel?
Y'all see it, but what are y'all gonna do about
Israel isn't aborting all the black people you love's babies.
Dying. You can see America, Maine, Colorado, trying to throw Trump off, but what is America really gonna do about it? So you think
What are you gonna do about it?
No,
Abortion and all that.
In America,
Black women are killing the babies. Israel's not doing that, sir.
No, killing the babies is not a problem. If they said, okay, we're gonna start selling babies for we cut off abortion. Let's start selling babies. If you have a baby for $5 million, the blacks would still have more babies than the whites, and they would sell them to white families, and it wouldn't matter. They'd be like, "Whoa, we can't have abortion, but they're buying and raising our babies for $5 million apiece." The blacks would be out there coming up, and y'all still be crying.
Wow.
Why they get to sell?
Why aren't they coming up now?
And get tax incentives?
What's in their way?
Tax incentives of $5 million to have babies instead of having abortions.
That's incredible. Okay, explain. Okay, hold on, Frederick, smart man. Why are they not coming up now?
Who says they're not?
You say they are?
Since 2020 and the recession, there's been more black business started that's been successful than in the last 20 years combined.
Incredible. So they're coming up, right? They're not aborting all their babies. They're not way lower than a replacement rate than whites.
Low in the black families right now. The unemployment is so low. Everybody's
Frederick. Black people are becoming extinct. Frederick, they are not replacing. Frederick. They have the sickness in them is worse than the whites. They're not replacing.
That's a dream.
But you're clinging onto a little stat that says in the last 20 years, black businesses, blah blah blah. When we're talking about, remember, in the last 20 years, blacks have been propped up. Remember that diversity. No, hold on. They talk about diversity. We got to put blacks in the businesses. We got to put them in. We got to make them pilots. And you're going to cling onto a stat that says in the last 20 years, more black businesses. When we're talking about the most propping up of blacks than ever, and I'm sorry, man. It just doesn't seem like you're living in reality.
Bad. You're the one saying they're doing bad. I'm not saying they're doing bad.
Look, I'm just telling you what's happening right now. I'm not telling you something that's happening tomorrow. I'm not telling you a theory. I'm not telling you about what could happen. I'm telling you about what's happening to black people right now.
You think black people are going extinct?
Yes.
That's a lie.
What is a replacement rate?
Oh my goodness!
Oh my goodness is not an answer to what is a replacement rate.
Are black people only born in the United States?
I'm talking about blacks in the United States.
Ah, well, there you go.
Oh,
it's not about that's just semantically.
My bad. I forgot you were a Pan-Africanist or whatever. My bad. You seem to have a connection to people who don't think like you or care about you, speak the same language as you. But you're going to go off. You're going to go international this year, and you're going to connect black people, right?
Don't understand. Listen,
how shallow could you be?
Blacks have purposely been 14% over 150 years. They purposely been that.
Say that again.
They brought in Bosnians for decades. They brought in Vietnamese, the Nguyen. They brought in China. They visa overstayed.
Who are you talking about? Purposely. Slow down for me. I'm not that smart. You got to give me a chance, man.
The immigration that's here that kept blacks at 14%. They've been bringing over immigrants
here in America. Well, that's a problem. Why are you arguing with me for that? I don't want that.
They've been trying to put blacks extinct, and it ain't working. It can't happen. It's not God's plan. If they would have wanted blacks extinct, it could have happened. They can't do it. That's why they keep bringing in all this immigration, trying to dilute it, and it's not even diluting.
I got a little homework for you, Frederick.
All right.
Find out the population of black. Find out the number of blacks in America 25 years ago and compared to the number of blacks today, and then tell me how many blacks you've lost. How many blacks we've lost? Okay, you let me know that, and you tell me if they're coming up, like you say.
And where are you getting these numbers from?
I don't have them. You got to do the homework.
Oh, exactly. Nick, come on.
Come on. You said you care about this, right? Do the homework.
Because your numbers aren't. You ain't even gonna do the homework.
No, I did the homework a little bit. There's literally less, and I don't know about blacks, but there's numbers for this. There's projections for it. There's
No.
let's talk about who should I pick?
No.
Japan. Should I pick Italy? Let's pick Italy. There's projections for this. There's less. There's literal less Italians than ever.
Is it prediction or is it fact?
We're talking about like 30% of Italians that there used to be. By 2050, there'll be this many. I'm sorry, I just have too many words in front of me. I can't find the number. But look, the numbers are there. I just have a big old book in front of me.
The whites are going extinct. The whites will be a minority.
So are blacks.
That is the.
So are blacks. It's bad for them too. It's bad for them too.
How can both be a minority?
That's a random statement. That's not based on what we're talking about. How can both be a minority? What are you talking about?
No,
that's not a state. That's not a response to this. What do you mean both a minority? That's not. How can both be? I just want to point that out. How ridiculous that is. How can both be a minority is not an answer to the birth rates of both blacks and whites are very low.
No, you're talking about.
There can be many minorities.
That's declining. One's going to have to outnumber.
Your math ain't mathing.
No, your math ain't mathing. Whites are already.
In Spain, the birth rate is down to 1.07 children per woman. The population is projected to fall by 25%. You're telling me that's not less people? That's literally less people. That's happening to blacks.
Oh. All right, Nick. Believe the statistics. That's the same robot that feeds you that never mind.
No. This is not a projection. This is not what's happening tomorrow. The numbers already came in and there's less of those people that we're talking about, including blacks.
That's like saying
there's less of them.
Blacks do 50% of the crime. Y'all keep believing them statistics.
We're not. That's a different thing. If you want to jump to something else, and I don't have much more time with you, but just so you know, that's a fact. There are less of you.
No, see, just like if you believe them statistics,
like that already happened. We're not projecting things like that already happened. All right, Frederick. Well, appreciate your call, man.
All right. Yeah. No
Call me again, sir. Happy New Year.
Yep. Never New Year.
Beautiful. Love it. You guys keep calling me. Thank you. Let's rock these calls super quick. Csal, Arizona. You're on the air.
Nicolas, we need like a good palate cleanse after that Egyptian fairy horrific call.
No, I don't. I never feel like stressed out but thank you. You might be right about this. A palate cleanse would be welcome. No, thank you for that.
No, pero nosotros sí in the chat. We have to put up with that.
I don't feel anything about it. I maybe have a little too much fun with it, so maybe I let these calls go on. But you may be right about that. A little palate cleanse. Appreciate your call, Csal. Happy New Year.
Happy New Year. Okay, you guys can't do this to us. You can't give us a live show every single day, all year long, and then for the Christmas, New Year time, just take away our shows for a whole week. I was like, what the heck am I going to do with my time?
It should have been a surprise. You should have been prepared. I mean, honestly, I was thinking about that a little bit too, that I know I just dropped it. I just dropped my channel and stuff and took my break. But I'm like, man, I wish I could... I wish I did the work to leave something for my viewers or something for the week.
No,
I saw Hake put out like a
super hard.
I saw Hake put out like an AI. What was it? Like an AI. It's like his voice singing a Jackie Chung song. I'm like, that's such a nice gift for the viewers. That was solid.
Yeah, but he's white. They're always like 3 steps ahead of us. POCs.
Lord, that's not good. We could do it. Remember, it's not about. Remember, the blacks rebuilt Tulsa. Okay, so the Hispanics can be 3 steps ahead too. They just gotta care about it.
But no, I'm just super grateful that you guys are live, and you do work a lot, and you definitely deserve the whole week off. I'm just giving you a hard time.
No, I know. Don't worry about that.
I called because about your trip to Mexico.
Yeah.
somebody in the chat was like, "Is Mexico really is the border really as dangerous as people say, or as it's commonly known?" And no. So I'm calling to answer that question from the person in the chat. No, it's not. It's worse.
You say it's worse?
It's worse.
Yeah, no,
it's a lot worse.
The danger of the border, you saying?
Yes,
I'm
it's
sure,
a lot
yeah.
worse. Don't do it. Don't go.
Yeah.
Maybe more in like central in Mexico. It's maybe, I don't know. It's not that bad. But in the border here, where I live, it's the border between Arizona, and Sonora. So the little town where on the Mexico side of where my family is and blah, 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 it used to be really peaceful when El Chapo was controlling the drug smuggling and the drug everything on that area.
Wow.
It was very peaceful. We were all very happy. But then the United States arrested El Chapo and extradited him to the United States, right? To prison.
Wow. It's just an amazing statement when you think about it. I mean, to become destabilized like that when you get rid of a drug lord, I don't know what to say about that.
Nick, you can't even believe how bad it got. So the United States arrested El Chapo, extradited him to the maximum security prison in New York, I think, and then all hell broke loose here in my backyard. The other two cartels moved in to take over this territory, obviously.
Right.
And
gotcha.
Every day.
So it was the vacuum of power.
Yes.
I'm understanding now.
Right. So murders every day in broad daylight. I see the videos in the streets that I grew up in. It's insane. And people started complaining so bad because there were like balaceras all the time.
Shootouts.
So people shootouts. Yes, thank you.
Just helping my viewers.
Yes. People are going to be hitting the translator in the chat. So it got so bad. This is the hilarious. Okay, not hilarious. I'm not laughing because I'm happy about the evil. I get nervous, but I laugh when I get nervous. And I'm nervous right now, so that's why I giggle a little bit.
Sometimes the horrors are sometimes in a strange way funny, but go on.
So the people started complaining so much that the murderers, the cartel, and this is serious, they didn't say, but they're not using guns anymore. They're not using guns. So whenever they go in to murder somebody from the other cartel, because they're fighting for the city, they slice their throats. So
dang, nothing like that really, South American, Central American violence.
And so it's been really peaceful. It's been really peaceful and quiet because they're not using guns anymore. They're using knives, and they've been killing the journalists that are posting on Facebook the videos and stuff. And I'm talking about my backyard here in between Arizona and Sonora. So when people ask, is it really that bad in Mexico? No, it's a lot worse. But everybody keeps it on the hush-hush because if you say something as a journalist, you're going to get murdered. Right. And because they don't use guns, so they just use knives. But it's bad.
No, and here's something. No, yeah, you got to be careful. Look, that's why I'm not saying I recommend it. I had an inn. I spoke the language, and it's a little different, too, because this is a little town. But here's the thing. What you're saying is true because here's something I notice a lot about Mexicans, Hispanic countries, Colombians. When I speak to people and they say, no, it's not bad. These are people who are so used to living in like a culture of fear, and they're used to that's like a normal thing, right? They'll say like, no, it's not bad. Just don't walk down there during this time at this hour with this person wearing this, and you'll be fine. It's just like you're telling me that's okay. You see what I'm saying? So you gotta understand that side of the whole thing.
Yeah, it's bad, but I was gonna say something else. Regarding the Freddie conversation. You know how when Jesus said, don't throw your pearls to swine? That's exactly, and when I was listening to you and Fred's conversation, I was like, I find it so fascinating that God's message of truth is so simple. You know, you don't need 1,000 words to explain one truth. Like JLP explains it, says just these simple quotes and stuff. And Fred has to say a male. I was so confused. I got
Me
dizzy at
too.
the end.
That's the thing. Here's the thing. Because I try to LARP and try and do all that too. Because I'm not here. I'm trying to be all smart and come up with this. Because I'm trying to give you guys a show, right? And then I realize, what the heck am I doing? I'm not saying I'm not smart, but I'm just not. Look, it's all crap anyways. And I may not have the right words for all of you sometimes, but I got to tell you, it's simple. It's the family, it's anger, it's the things we're talking about. And so I get confused trying to follow some of that stuff. And I'm trying to bring it back. I may not be the most expert at it, so you'll have to forgive me as I bumble through it, but I got to stick to it. It's the family, it's these simple things we're talking about. It's not...
Bruh.
You know
You're
what I mean?
lost. We're lost. Nobody understands what Fred is saying.
I wish I was more masterful in all these topics so I could guide all of you with me. But sometimes I'm sitting here confused, y'all. So I'm gonna
but you
bring it.
You can't, because you can't understand insanity. Like, a sane person cannot make sense of something that doesn't make sense. But anyway, thank you for taking my call.
No problem. Csal, call me again.
Okay, bye.
And I got Donnie Armour. Sir, you're on the air. Nice to hear from you. Happy New Year. Donnie Armour. The Donning Armour. I got Donnie Armour? Maybe? Going once? Donnie Armour. I'm going to put him on hold. What are we talking about? What are we talking about, y'all? I mean... Your confusion isn't from your lack of understanding. What I'm saying is that sometimes I may not have like all the words and be well spoken enough to drive the points I'm trying to make home, but I gotta stick to them even if I don't understand them so well. But it's about these things like the family, the heart, the individual. The change in mindset in America, moving away from God and simple things. These are the real things to me. So and I want to get to Donning Armour because it sounds like he wants to talk about identity and race a little bit. Oh, seems like Donning's good to go. I'm going to get to you, Donning. I want to get to you for this reason because, like you guys have seen my show, some of you for a bit now. It's not like I deny the differences between races. And their importance at times. But the blacks rebuilt Black Wall Street. The same blacks you say they don't have it. You know what I'm saying here? The whites rebuilt stuff. The same stuff they can't quite rebuild right now, sort of. Not to be so hard on them. You know what I'm saying? It seems to me like there's something deeper than race. Oh, is that so crazy to say? Donning Armour, I got you on the air. How you doing, sir?
I'm doing very well. How you doing? Happy New Year.
Happy New Year, Donnie Armour. Right on.
I apologize about that. I'm doing some work over
no,
here,
babe.
so I had the phone muted. But no, you called me shallow with your previous caller.
Yeah, maybe a little bit.
How dare you?
Maybe a little bit. Well, okay, let me bring it back up because what you were saying basically, you were saying, well, what is this Republican trope about race doesn't matter? And I said you were being shallow at that very moment because it sounded like you weren't even listening to what I was saying. Because in the context of what I was saying, your comment didn't make sense. I'm not doing some average race doesn't matter commentary. I'm just saying I'm being kind of particular and, in my opinion, a little bit deeper on that, because how can you say race matters to, I guess, at a degree that you might be saying, when we have black people, when we have a literal divide in the black people of America. There was a time when blacks were a certain way, and then there was a time when they were a different way. And the way when they were a different way, they built stuff. And when they stopped being that way, they stopped building stuff. Tell me where race matters in there.
Well, I just disagree on the premise.
Okay.
They never built.
Maybe I'm wrong about this. What do you mean?
The only thing that I'll give them the traffic light. Everything else that they claim to have built, they never did.
No. I'm not saying inventions and stuff. I'm just saying simple things like building a family, building businesses, and building a nice neighborhood where they had their own stuff and they owned their own things and they built their own families and they stayed married. That's what I'm talking about.
Yeah, that never happened.
That never happened? Am I wrong about this?
Yes.
Help me understand.
They worldwide, no matter where you find the black people, it does not
Wait,
matter.
wait. Sorry, I'm not that. I should be clear. I think I had this same thing with Frederick. I should be clear. I mean black Americans, I guess. I'm talking about black Americans right now.
Okay, you're specifically talking about black Americans.
Yeah, but doesn't that the fact that the fact that black Americans black Americans were a certain way, and when they were that way, they had families, they built stuff. They stopped being that way, and then they stopped building those things. In that relationship, where does race matter?
Race matters from a biological perspective, and is there any other example of blacks building a viable community aside from Tulsa? Or do you have any other examples?
Jesse's growing up, Jesse's family, the world Jesse grew up in.
He didn't build a community.
No, but his families, they were married. Like he talks about how they went off and got educated, and then they went off and made their own families.
Where do you think they got those values and traditions from?
Maybe when they were like enslaved or like white people. The point is, where does race matter there?
Race matters on a biological perspective. So they've never done it.
I'm just saying, maybe they got it. You asked me where they got it from. Where do you think they got it from?
Of course, they got it from white people.
Christians, white Christians.
Yes, they happened to be Christians at the time, yes.
Exactly. And so where does race matter? Because you're saying race is a biological blah, 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 but here's this race of people who you say don't build, and yet they adopted some Christian stuff during slavery or whatever, and they went on and built. Where did race stop them? Where did race get in their way?
I'm not trying to diminish the works of blacks throughout history. Certainly, they've done things, they've built things, and they've prospered. But let me ask you this. Was the United States a Christian nation in its inception?
I think so, yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, I'm pretty sure.
So how did Christianity...
I mean, at least the men who were instrumental in its creation and in its core ideologies and all that, they were Christian. They believed in God.
That's fine. I'm not trying to argue that point. Predominantly, the United States was a Christian nation shortly after its inception. Yes?
Yeah.
So how did Christianity let down the black community? Because it hasn't worked, right? I mean, we could both just be honest with each other and say that the black culture, black community has faltered. It is not working out very well right now, is it?
But what's different from the blacks of before? This same Christianity you're talking about. You're saying how did Christianity let down blacks? Well, I don't know if it's Christianity that let them down. The blacks turned away from one of the core pillars that held them up previously. They threw it away.
Black culture in the United States of America tends to be more leaning towards Christianity than white culture.
Yes. That's a fair point, and I've heard this before, and I understand that. But listen, when you really examine when if someone tells you they're a vegan and they eat bacon, are they a vegan? You see what I'm saying? Like, yeah, I understand that stat, and that's generally true, but I think that speaks more to the falseness of their Christianity. They love the claiming of it. They love going to the church and the feel good, and they're like, look at me, I'm a Christian, just like many whites do. But is it truly Christian? Look at the fruits that they're producing. That's not very the fruits of the families of the blacks and all that. It doesn't look very Christian.
They're more
despite them calling it that.
They're more likely to identify as Christian than white people in the United States.
I understand that. That's a fair point, but listen, that's simply like words. That's simply identification. That's simply if we can be real for a second, most of black Christians today they're not Christians. They're like in a cult where you go to a building and you wave your hand and yell and you run around the pew and you say you love Jesus, but then you go home and hate. That's like a weird pagan cult. That's not Christian.
You have to bring paganism into
My bad. I didn't mean to get you. I didn't mean to talk. Get you under there, put you in the same category.
No, it's quite all right. Okay, look.
You know what I'm saying, though? That's like some weird culty stuff, like going around, hopping around, and waving your hand, and like, that's so weird, and yelling and speaking in tongues and blah, blah, blah. Like, doesn't seem Christian to me.
Okay, well, everybody does that.
Right, and it's like, it seems like American Christians are at the grips of some strange cult. It's not Christian, yet they call it that.
That's not a black thing. That's a human thing. People
Fair
do that
enough.
all around.
We were talking about blacks, but you're right.
Yes. So what I have an issue with you is that you think that it's not important for people to have a sense of identity. And I'm talking about racial identity, not religious identity. So both are important, but I think race is a much more important factor of identity than religion. And religion doesn't seem to have helped. Everybody's complaining about the world's having gone to HE double hockey sticks or whatever the heck it is that you Christian guys say because you're afraid to say a swear word. But all of the decline has happened under the shadow of Christianity, Islam, and Judaism. That's where it happened, right?
You could say that. I could also I could also flip the coin on you and say a lot of the advancements and creations of the best nations in the world were under this same shadow. Could it be that maybe we're seeing a sort of the death of that same amazingness is like the shadow of itself. It's an irreligious shadow of itself where they turned away from the real meaning of what what created those same things. Because you just said would you agree the opposite is also true? The creation of the most amazing things were in that same shadow that you're talking about.
Well, certainly, yes.
Exactly. So somewhere along there, that's where you mine. That's where you can mine for the truth. Somewhere in there, we lost something. So I don't think it's fair to just say, well, look at all these horrible things that happen under this religion. Well, no, it's the full story is there was an amazing creation of things, and then we lost something. We lost the meaning of something, and it started going the other way.
What is that something? What is the something?
The very thing that created it. We turned away from what we call Christian and all that. And look at how empty. Look at the emptiness of what we call Christian today. It's just going to a building. It's just, I don't know, reading some book and repeating verses. It's yelling and speaking in tongues. And you see what I'm saying? Look how shallow all that is.
So you
as opposed to like the men sorry to cut you off, but the men who used to, the men who created this country, for example. Let's talk about, for example, I was talking about birth rates and marriages. Do you see the same? Imagine this for a second. The self-sacrifice it takes to, I guess, have a large family. You gotta put aside a lot of pleasures, for example. Do you see Christians today putting aside those pleasures? Let's be real. They're all into the same worldly pleasures that everybody else is in. They're not going to sacrifice for a family. They'll have one kid, two. So they're not the same Christians, man. They're just not the same. They're just not the same.
I'm having a hard time following. Okay. There are Christian nations in the world that are exploding with, large families that are, their birth rates are very high. That happens, but what I'm saying is I'm not blaming Christianity. I'm not doing that. I'm just saying it obviously hasn't worked universally. It simply hasn't.
But you're missing another side of the equation, man. You're ignoring the other side of the equation because it did work. It clearly did work at some time.
I mean, pagans were quite prolific with birth rates until Christianity came and stomped them out, right?
Is that true?
Yes. Where do you think all the Europeans came from?
You're saying like pagans were having a whole bunch of babies, then they became Christian and stopped having babies?
I'm saying that, yes, that's exactly what I'm saying. Absolutely.
No.
Paganism thrived in Europe, and Europeans thrived under it.
But Europeans thrived in Christianity way more. What pagan society? Name me the pagan society that's affected the world and you know what I mean? That Christianized, that paganized the world like the Christians did, like the Western European monarchies and stuff. Show me the pagan nation and peoples that are, you know what I mean? I mean, yes, sure, the West is maybe dying, but you see where they came from. It's clear. You see their influence. You see their mark in the world. Where's the great pagan nations that you're talking about?
We all know this. Are you serious? You really asking?
No, I am asking you in seriousness because maybe I don't know. Maybe I'm wrong.
Okay. Well, I mean, the most striking example that everybody loves to refer to is the Vikings, but I can take it a little bit further than that if you'd like. I could talk about, have you ever heard the idiom, the sun never sets on the British Empire?
Yes.
Because it literally didn't, because the British Empire conquered.
You're telling me the British Empire was this pagan nation you're talking about? They were Christian, my friend.
Well, by the time of that saying, yes, they were Christian. But before that saying, do you think that they weren't a force?
Are you talking about are you talking about like before they were kings?
I'm talking around that time. Yeah, I'm talking.
Western European monarchies were all like Christian, unless I'm wrong here.
I'm talking about pre-Christian Europe.
But pre-Christian Europe was like crap. Pre-Christian Europe was like swamp people. No, am I wrong about this?
I'm sorry.
Pre-Christian Europe was like swamp people.
Swamp people?
Yeah, like Gaelic swamp people, not the monarchies that Christianized the world. They're two different. They're a little different. Am I wrong? I could be wrong. I want to be corrected.
Yes, you're wrong. You've been listening to too many black people tell you that.
Maybe. I don't think a black person told me this one though.
Oh, they say it all
No,
the time.
I got this from like Roman historian type people.
No, there's many accounts, and there were complex, high civilizations that were existing in Europe well before the Romans came and spread Christianity.
That may be true, but that may be true, but look, there's a big difference between them and the Christian European monarchies that Christianized the world, that have left come on, let's be real. The mark they left on the world that exists today, dude. The white European monarchies, let's be real here for a second, completely different in scope. Would you agree, or am I wrong about this?
The humanity developed after Christianity invaded Europe. There's no saying that that's not true. But what I was trying to really discuss,
sure, go ahead.
Could stick to it if you want to stick to it. Sorry, this
my bad. I'm kind of rambling too. Please talk about what you want to talk about.
Yeah, no, is a sense of identity. You identify as Christian, whatever it is that you think Christianity is. Because, let's be honest, Christians don't necessarily agree on what it is to be Christian.
No.
Right? Muslims don't necessarily agree.
Generally, though, they generally agree.
To some extent, yes. Okay,
I think that's all that
fine.
matters.
Okay. But it matters, right?
Right. There's, of course, just like race matters at certain times.
Exactly.
But I never disagreed with you on that. Look, if you ask me, and I've said this, I've always said this, I'd like to see the races preserved. They all have their unique characteristics and strengths. I think it'd be evil to think otherwise.
Yeah.
And so in that sense too, race matters. But you still have not answered where race matters with the blacks that when they were Christian versus when they weren't Christian, and how different they were between each other. You still haven't told me where race matters in that relationship. And that's why I was talking about being shallow.
I did mention that blacks are more likely to be Christian than whites. And we can all see all of the videos every single day, every single hour, of blacks acting like, acting like people that you don't really necessarily want to be around, right?
But they didn't used to. That's the point.
Do you think that it was like
if it was all about race, then they would have always been like that. Don't you see that point? Is that too simple? Is that dumb? That makes perfect sense to me.
Blacks have always been more violent than every other race of people.
Even that may be true. That doesn't change the point I'm making.
Everywhere around the world, Christian or not Christian. Always.
Even that might be true. That doesn't change the point I'm making.
Listen, I don't understand the point that you're making, but
maybe I don't think we have enough time to go rehash it over.
It's okay. Let me just really quick.
Okay.
All right. You have circumstances with ethnocentrism where, particularly in China, with the Han Chinese, they are successful, right? They run China. You have ethnocentrism throughout Africa. You know, the Houthis and the Hutu, all that kind of stuff. You have it in Philippines. You have it in Taiwan, Thailand. You have it everywhere that you go, and you find higher rates of ethnocentrism, that is, having a sense of identity and belonging to a people, you fare better. Mexicans, and I was in Mexico last year.
Nice.
You guys, you literally have, what's that group, La Raza? It literally means the race.
But
right?
That's like, isn't that like an American thing? Nobody in Mexico is going around like La Raza. They're just Mexican. Not that I've seen.
No, they wait.
They're just Mexican there.
Yeah, they wait.
La Raza is like an American thing. No, it's Mexicans in America going around saying we're like the race or whatever.
Yeah, exactly. Yes, you're right.
Okay.
And it works out for them. The black Congress,
I don't know if that works. No, how is that working out for Mexicans in America going around saying La Raza and hating are some of the most miserable people I know. I don't think it's working out for them.
There's like 60 million of them living in the United States. I'm pretty sure it's working out for them, right?
That's an interesting point. Yeah, that's one way of putting it. Yeah.
All right. So if it works for Jews, Jews are very ethnocentric. It seems to be working out for them.
I see the point you're making now. No. And like I said before, I would like to see the races preserved. Obviously, imagine if Mexico had an influx of immigrants trying to change them. They would suddenly sound like us. You know, us talking about, or you know, they would sound like what we're talking about here on the show.
They wouldn't sound anything like us because I can't buy property.
I disagree. I think they would start saying we need to close the border. We need to get these people out of here. This is a Mexican country.
I'm a white man. I can't even buy property in Mexico. Okay, so yeah,
exactly.
No, they've already sounded off on this. They're completely the opposite to us because they're ethnocentric and we're not. I'm talking about my people.
I understand
people.
that.
And yes, Nick, you are pretty damn white. But we need to start acting like they do because it's just reality. We can't hide from this anymore, man. And stop with the Republican nonsense like Donald Trump saying black people built this country. No, they did not. This country had nothing to do with black people. And you know what? Like all these illegals that are over here, these economic invaders, they all need to go back. That's all it is.
Yeah, fair enough. Look, I don't disagree with any of that, man. And I don't disagree with any of that. America should remain majority white. People got to realize that's what's happening to them. White people in America, that's what's happening. When I'm talking about identity, man, when I say avoid identity and all that, I'm talking about the inside, the heart, and being angry about things. That's kind of what I'm getting at, really. But I don't disagree with a lot of what you're saying. And it applies to you as well, man. Sometimes you may be, you know yourself, man. You got to examine yourself. When I'm talking about identity and getting and not identifying with things, I'm talking about anger and getting all like emotionally involved with this thing that is going to hold you back, in my opinion. Because I think you could do what you're talking about without identifying. I think you can keep America majority white and knowing that America was built by whites and all that without, like, for example, you said La Raza. You think Mexicans are going around saying La Raza and identifying with, you see what I'm saying here? Maybe I don't even totally have this thought out yet, but that's what I got to say about it, man. I can't spend too much more time here, man.
It's okay, dude. I'll let you go. We'll pick up on it later.
Appreciate it. Call me again, Donnie Armour.
Enjoy your New Year.
Right on, you too. Hey, maybe there's some insight there, folks. Hey, sometimes I'm bumbling through these points, but hey, I feel like some of you may understand me somewhat, huh? Even if I may not understand myself fully. I want to show you what I want to show you next. Last few minutes of the show. I know I got an interesting caller here about an interesting topic. I may not be able to get to it, though. I guess I kind of want to show you a little bit of my trip. I went to this little town called Tinguindín in the Mexican state of Michoacán. Town of around 12,000 people. And maybe I want to show you a little bit of my trip. Just pickies, just a little some pics, I guess. Why not? Let's see what I could do here. Oh, man, I went to this cathedral in a city called Zamora. And they call this cathedral La Inconclusa. And they call it that because they didn't finish the cathedral for many, many years. As you can see, the bottom half here, this bottom half that's different color than the top half, it's huge, like Gothic-looking cathedral. It's beautiful inside. It was absolutely incredible. That's why they call it La Inconclusa. It was never concluded until like hundreds of years later. I think until just recently. Ooh, maybe I want to be careful what I'm showing here. These are personal documents. They had this group in Mexico. They called them Los Cristeros. These people were Mexicans that were fighting other Mexicans. These were Mexicans who weren't Christian, who hated the Christian Mexicans, and they would murder them at this same cathedral. These are like bullet holes in the wall of these executions. They kept to commemorate this in a sense. And so they call themselves Cristeros. They hated it's Mexican on Mexican violence, but they hated each other because of the Christian thing. And so, I mean, when you go into the history a little bit, you can kind of understand because, I mean, the Catholics, they came down hard on these on the peoples who were, because is it fair to call them Mexican? They weren't Mexican when the Catholics came. The Mexicans were the ones that came after the Spanish came to that area, right? So I guess it's the indigenous. And they came down hard on the indigenous. They saw the child sacrifice. They said, you know what? Yeah, that's not going to fly. We're going to end that right now. I got to say, I don't know about y'all. I think I kind of side with the Spanish on that one. I think I'm glad the child sacrifices stopped. But some people didn't like that influence. They saw it as an oppression, a destruction of their indigenous culture. And so they became the Cristeros, and they began to murder their Mexican brothers who called themselves Christian. Just a little interesting history. They have this, we were in this home, and they have this funny custom, okay, where they take baby pics, and they get like the different faces of the baby, like the baby when it's crying, the baby when it's happy. But the way they do it is they pinch the baby. Okay, how do I show this to you? They like pinch the baby to get it crying. They give it lemon. Oh man, there was a better picture, and I don't have it. I just thought it was a funny custom because you do that to babies today, and you'll get like, oh, that's bullying or that's abuse. That kid has trauma now because they pinch the kid just for the picture. I just thought it was hilarious. It's like definitely an old school thing or something. I don't know if is that an American? Any Americans do something like that? Old school like chimneys. They call them chimeneas to cook their food. These nice ladies who cooked us some of the best tacos, quesadillas I've ever had in my life. Nice lady here. Very old school. I mean, it was an awesome trip. I experienced things I never experienced. Let me see. What else can I show you here? I had way more pics, so they didn't upload. Google Drive didn't like them, I guess. Oh, here's some pics inside of La Inconclusa. Here's the cathedral. I mean, incredible. Oh, I think this is La Inconclusa. Let me see if there's other pics. Just some beautiful mosaics and, those colorful windows, whatever they call them. Stained glass windows and all that. They had Black Lives Matter in Mexico? What is this? Someone explain this to me. They got the student population, they got the university, they have like revolutionary Mexican students. It's a mess. It's a mess. They're communists, basically. Bunch of communist students with this looks like a Black Lives Matter. It says, Memoria, Verdad y Justicia. Oh, God. Oh, God. It looks like a Black Lives Matter thing in Mexico. This is in Guadalajara. What a mess. This looks almost feminist. So they got their issues, too. They got their problems. Big time. I mean, for God's sakes, the cartels have them in their grips. These people and some of these people love the cartels. What a mess. Let's see here. Yep. So, that's a little person. Don't worry about that. She's a little lady. What else can I show you? I'll have to upload some more pictures and maybe show you Friday on a more chill show, huh? Cathedral. I want to show you some parts of my trip. I definitely had fun. Oh, and this is the cathedral in Tinguindín with the 3 bells. I'm not a good photographer either, by the way. I'm a horrible photographer. But this was the night sky, and this is the little cathedral in that little town where they have 3 bells, which they're known for. It was just a good time. I just want to show you a little bit of this. This is like we going back to 6... Nick, what did the graffiti say on the purple BLM shrine? Let's see. What did it say? Let's pull up that picture. What did the graffiti say? I don't know. What does it say? I'm not sure. I can't even read this. Oh, I think that says vulva. That says vulva power. What a mess. Mexico's got a woman problem too. This says vulva power. I'm sorry, is that vulgar? Is that gross to say? Well, Mexican women, you guys got problems. Who wrote that? And why is this in your country? Stop it. That's a mess. That's ridiculous. What else? I just want to show you a little bit. What else can I show you here? Just want to show you a little bit here. Oh, that's mi morra. That's mi morra. That's all, y'all. I'll show you more pics and stuff. Once the trip, I guess, solidifies in my mind, I'll show you more as the week goes on. Maybe this Friday, when we do our little Nick stream. We're gonna Nick stream Friday, but we're definitely past time. We're definitely past the time here, folks. I hope you enjoyed the show today. We got more show for you tomorrow. American Anchor, baby, coming at you tomorrow, 12 o'clock. Don't miss it. I think that's everything. Oh, we got super chats. Let me not leave too hastily here. I know I have some wonderful super chats from my viewers. I got Carver531 saying the white people genetically modified JLP's family DNA. Interesting. Interesting theory. Right on, Carver. Nice to see you in the chat. Appreciate it, sir. John Zimmer with the super chat. Very generous. Thank you. Says, words are over-editorialized all too often. Be real, simple, and true is where it's at. Thank you, sir. John Zimmer, appreciate that super chat. You rock. DJ 2020, right on, sir. Thank you for being a supporter there. Over there on Rumble. I know I had a Rumble rant earlier. It was a 07 from Base Nation. 07's in the chat for Base Nation. Appreciate that. And all your support last year, you keeping the show going. I'm just going to keep rocking and rolling the show. Coming at you with more American Anchor Baby tomorrow. Coming at you with some Nick stream this Friday. We got some cool stuff this year, folks. Appreciate it. I'm glad to be back, truly. And I shall see y'all tomorrow. What can I say? Let me see. What are y'all saying in the chat? That's all the super chats. That's everything. All right, y'all. I'm going to say bye. Peace, y'all. See you tomorrow.